What is up? Yes, an extra cheese tonight. You got that right, autopilot. It's been a long day, but what the hell? People got to talk their Packers, and I got to talk it with them. Packers winning 27-20, final preseason game. Salute to that. Hope everyone's doing well. Mercifully, the preseason is over, and now it is officially Bear Week. That's right. 1 week from tonight, the Packers will either be 1-0 or 0-1. Kind of crazy to think about after the off season that has dragged on seemingly forever. Hey, congrats to the Packers. Thanks. That's funny. 7 days until the Bears are still going to suck. I'm down with that. Okay, Kaiser staying or leaving? I tell you what, I thought Kaiser played pretty darn well tonight. Rough going early on. I don't think a lot of that was due to himself. I think people around him really let him down. But he made some plays. And it's hard to look at the totality of the work from both quarterbacks throughout the offseason and the preseason and think one was really that much better than the other. They're both pretty substandard, but can make some plays in different ways. To me, I still think it'll probably end up being Boyle, but only because I think he has shown development and improvement throughout his time in Green Bay, whereas Kaiser, albeit did some nice things, like I said, he's still the same guy. You still see the same issues. You don't really see improvement or development. And that's not to say he can't be a backup in the league. I think he can, but with Boyle, you see continued growth and development. Now, I tell you what, if they keep three quarterbacks, I will throw something hard, and it will probably break. But that's just me. What's up? Was Andy Herman the streaker? No, I do not believe so. Duke, is Shepard in jeopardy of possibly not making the 53? Yeah. I've said earlier today, I said on the radio, I thought he was a pretty strong candidate for the practice squad. I recognize a lot of people saw his strong preseason and thought, they're going to keep him on the 53. I just have a hard time believing that that's going to be the case. His fumble tonight certainly didn't help him. I think he's got practice squad written all over him. And I know people are scared, going to expose him to waivers. I mean, there are literally hundreds of wide receivers out there. I don't think anyone's going to pluck him from oblivion. The Packers are winning 27 points. Yes, they won 27 points. Tanyan didn't suit up tonight because he has got a spot secured on the 53. I think he's going to be used quite a little bit this year. Jesse, thanks for the super chat. I just wanted to pop on and say thanks for the great preseason coverage. Jesse, thank you so much, and thanks for supporting what we do here at Cheesehead TV. It really means a lot. Does Summers make the 53? Candace, I'll bet he does, only because they're so banged up inside. You saw Crawford go out with an injury later tonight. I mean, you talk about the walking wounded at one position. Inside linebacker is certainly the one that has been completely snake bitten this summer and this camp and preseason. I think Summers has to make it simply because they don't have very many bodies, and you got to think they will probably either look to make a trade or pluck somebody off a waiver wire or free agency, etc. But there's little doubt that they need to have somebody suited up next week that's gone through camp with them and knows the calls and knows the adjustments, etc. Right now, Summers is probably the one guy that does outside of Blake Martinez. So we'll see. Moore get cut? I think so. Just too many drops, too many missed assignments. You saw that interception from Kaiser today. You could quibble with whose fault it was, but it tends to happen when Moore's involved. It's just, I just have a hard time believing they're going to keep him around. The real okay. BJ Raji played inside linebacker. Thanks for the super chat. It might work. Who knows? Thoughts on Holman tonight and him making the 53? I think it's touch and go. He's got all the talent in the world. Someone on Twitter said, is the hype too much for him? And I think he's a rookie corner. I think the kid can play. He's got the talent. Probably, the way he kind of faded down the stretch here in camp and preseason, maybe he's a practice squad candidate. But I would find a place for him on the 53. I still think he can help you. I think he's got what it takes to play, especially man coverage, which You know, the NFL is no joke. What's my week 1 prediction? Predictions. Pain. Is Lazard injured? Yes, he was injured in the game up in Canada, so he didn't play tonight. Tell me more about Marcus Jones. He seemed to ball out tonight. Physical cat. You saw that big hit he had to cause the interception. I thought he and Matthews, the safety, both brought some physicality to the defense that's been missing. Any update on Jace? I think he was being evaluated for a concussion. And outside of that, we won't know much more until probably tomorrow. Let's see. Sorry, guys. They're flying by too far. Scheming tight ends opened. I think you'll see some of that. Chandon Sullivan. I think he's a practice squad guy, but we'll see. Can we just admit Kaiser is a bust? I mean, I've been saying it all summer. I still think he did some nice things tonight, and I think that will cause some pause in the personnel group, and it'll be interesting to see what they do, what call they make there at backup quarterback. After players don't make the 53, are they automatically available to other teams? Essentially, yes. Every player who has been in the league 3 years or less will, once they're cut and not on the 53, they are subject to waivers, which means any team within the waiver order can claim them. David, thank you for the super chat and thank you for the compliment. They do essentially, yes, become available. Each team gets a crack at them, so to speak. And then once they make it through waivers, which most of them do, then they are free agents and can sign with any team. Will Lane Taylor be out there week 1? Tyler, yes. According to Matt LaFleur pre-game interview, he said Lane Taylor is the starting left guard. Elton Jenkins clearly is going to be the backup, and I think the competition will continue, according to LaFleur, throughout the first part of the season. But starting week 1, Lane Taylor is your starting left guard. Pretty awesome. The guard we signed from the Bears tonight actually played. Well, they needed him too. They don't have the bodies. Gutekunst undoubtedly didn't mind the fact that he was on the Bears practice squad last year. And look, I know not a lot being made, but people are talking about the fact that he was a Bear. Oh no, sorry guys. I think my internet crapped out there for a second. Sorry guys. But yeah, so he's been told, if you see this certain look from the defense, what adjustments are you supposed to make? How does an offensive line in Chicago react to, say, double A gap pressure or a safety drop down in the box on the left side? What's the call? What's the adjustment? Things like that, he's going to be able to tell them. So, yeah, it's not a huge advantage or anything, but little crumbs of information that you can get. Sorry, I missed. Someone just gave me a super chat. Wheel, thanks so much. Thanks for all your commentary and thoughts. It gives me a lot of joy. Well, I'm glad I can bring someone joy. It's very nice of you to say. Is Mercedes Lewis a lock? I wouldn't call him a lock. I would say I expect him to make the team, but a lock, I think that's a step too far. I could see him getting cut, but I don't expect him to be. Does Ficken get signed by Chicago on Sunday? Whew, doggy, looking at the tape, the video of that miss from their kicker tonight, it's a possibility. Aaron, would you keep Boyle over Kaiser? Sorry if I missed it. I would. The reason I keep giving, and I keep saying, you've seen development from Boyle. From last year to this year, hell, throughout this summer alone, you've seen him improve. Whereas with Kaiser, you kind of see the same guy you've seen since he was with Cleveland. I haven't seen much, if any, improvement. He can make plays. You'll see the athleticism, and that's probably why the Packers liked him to begin with. But I haven't seen him improve. Maybe there's some behind-the-scenes, unseen thing that I'm not grasping, or the Packers are privy to that I'm not. But to my eyes, from what we've seen, yeah, I'd take Boyle. Is Dark Ray a clone? Oh, I love this theory. No, come on, that's a Force vision. We all know that. How long have I been a Packers fan? Since birth. My earliest memory in my life is my grandfather taking me to Lambeau when I was 3 years old. That's all I've ever known. Jack and Coke? Something in Coke, yeah. Joel, thanks for the super chat. Will Shepard make it? I think he'll be he'll be on the practice squad. I don't think he'll be on the 53 though. Who's on the practice squad, Kaiser or Wilkins? Well, Kaiser doesn't have any practice squad eligibility left. I do think Wilkins will be on the practice squad though. How does the NFL make any money on preseason? People have to buy tickets to a game. 72,000 sold tonight. The NFL teams split the broadcast stuff, and they make money. And then concessions, parking, etc. Insert whiskey sponsor and Coke. It's well said, Stymie. Concession stands are still full price. You bet they are. Packers shouldn't overthink it. Dexter will get there. Dexter over Carson. Here's the thing. All the backup running backs past the first two, Williams and Jones. I wish I could take parts of each of them and build a back, because then you'd have a pretty damn good player. But man, you saw that play where Dexter Williams completely blew the blitz pickup and basically got Kaiser killed. If that's Aaron Rodgers, oh, daddy. I like Dexter. He's got talent, but I'll be surprised if he's on the 53. I actually think they probably will go Carson. And I don't hate that. I think he's much better in blitz pickup. And if he's playing any stretch of amount of time, it's only because it's an emergency. I don't see it. Ben, thanks for the super chat. Is Jace's season a red shirt with the injuries? I think it was a red shirt to begin with. Anybody who's watched my Packers dailies throughout the offseason knows I've said all summer long, tight end is the toughest position to transition to in the NFL because of what is asked of the position. You go from, especially a guy like Jace, who's a move tight end and is in space and split out and et cetera, et cetera. He's a glorified wide receiver in college. He comes to the NFL, he's doing all sorts of stuff in line, all sorts of motion, H-back stuff in the backfield, blocking, blah, 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 taking on defensive ends. And then on top of that, doing all the stuff he's got to do as a pass catcher and a receiver. It was always going to be a redshirt year, especially with these older guys in front of him. The injuries obviously don't help, and they probably will undoubtedly kind of bring him along slowly, but I think that was always going to be the case. Do you think some Packers fans need to lighten up and stop being such purists? I do. I don't know. It depends on what you're talking about. Purist how? Purist of what? Pure of heart and mind? I know I'm pure. Is there a cap of how many players we can sign to the practice squad? Yes, 10. It used to be 8. They expanded to 10 a couple years ago. More influence on this offense, in your opinion, Shanahan or McVay? Oh, Jonathan, it's definitely Shanahan. McVay comes from Shanahan. It's all from Mike Shanahan, essentially. But Kyle Shanahan is definitely the guy whose blood is pumping through the veins of the Packers offense. There's no doubt about it. LaFleur has been with him, throughout his tenure in the NFL. McVay, the same way. Obviously, he's worked with McVay. He's taken what he can from McVay. But the concepts, the system itself, that is very much derived from Kyle Shanahan's system that he pretty much brought from Cleveland to, Washington, Cleveland, Atlanta, San Francisco. That style of offense, that's pretty much what LaFleur is utilizing in Green Bay. What's interesting, though, is Aaron Rodgers point blank said last week or 2 weeks ago when I was still in Green Bay that he's calling the 2-minute drill. He's calling the 2-minute offense. That's all Aaron Rodgers. So I think you're going to see some spread stuff, some McCarthy-esque stuff still in the 2-minute drill because, that's just Rodgers going to town. One day in practice in particular, we saw they were working against heavy pressure with the spread look, 5 wide basically, nobody in the backfield. And Rodgers just picked people apart. And it was just like Rodgers being Rodgers, old school style, like under McCarthy. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how much they utilize what, LaFleur has brought in from the Shanahan model, marrying it with the stuff that Rodgers really likes and or works well with from what he's done for the last 13 years or Blah, blah, blah. Keep both kickers, then cut Ficken after week 1. They're not going to keep 2 kickers. Come on, people. IR with designation to return, would that be week 10 for EQ? I think it'd be week 8. Well, week 9, I think. He can come off week 8, and then is he activated week 9? 10. You might be right about that. I'd have to brush up. Sorry. But it definitely is 8. He's got to be out 8 weeks. And then I think he can practice, and they have 2 weeks to activate him. I think that's it. So he could come back a week, or like week 9, but probably week 10. What do you do with Lane Taylor? I start him because Matt LaFleur said he's going to be the starter. If Elton Jenkins starts on the O-line, he's not going to start at the O-line. It's going to be Lane Taylor. Did I discuss Reggie Gilbert replacement? No, not really, just because I don't think there really will be one. I think they'll keep 4, and they'll go light there, I think. We'll see. Maybe they keep one of those other guys, but I doubt it. When will the cuts begin? Well, in the past, they've been notoriously slow. Who knows? Maybe Gutekunst speeds things up, but I would think we'll start to hear them trickle out or see them reported. Maybe there'll be 1 or 2 tomorrow, but most likely Saturday morning is when you'll start to see them. Ocho Cinco, I loved his video about Devontae Adams' release and route running. How does Shepard's fumble affect the wide receiver situation? I don't think it really does. I think he was a practice squad guy coming in. I think he's a practice squad guy after tonight. And it's an unfortunate play, but he's made way, way more plays than he's given up or hurt his team with outside of tonight. You know, it's a bad fumble. He can't have it, but he's put some really strong stuff together, and I think he'll be on the practice squad. I'm late, but did you say when the 53 is going to be set? Well, it's got to be set by 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So you'll obviously hear and see reporting throughout the day on Saturday as it comes together. But you should have a good idea midway through the afternoon on Saturday about what is what. Do I think Dexter made a statement? Yeah, on how to get a quarterback killed. I mean, I like him. I think he's got a lot of talent, but I'll be surprised if he's on the 53. I would put him on the practice squad myself. Sternberger's concussion's a major worry? I don't think they're a major worry. You know, every concussion is different. You don't know the severity of each. You know, let's just wait and see. I mean, he could be right as rain by tomorrow. I don't ever want to speculate and jump to conclusions. Do they need to have players on the 53 to put them on IR? Not necessarily, no. They could put them on IR tomorrow if they want, but once they put them on IR prior to the cut down to 53, they are done for the year. If they want to put them on IR with the possibility to bring them back later in the season, then they have to be on the initial 53-man roster. So that's why I suspect Equiminius St. Brown will be on the initial 53-man roster on Saturday, and then he'll be placed on injured reserve so that they have the possibility of bringing him back later in the year. But again, if they think it's severe enough and they don't want to count on bringing the guy back later, then they'll put him on IR right away. Let's see. Thoughts on expanding the 53-man roster in the next CBA talks? You know, the players would love it. Maybe that's something they get the owners to move on to get to these expanded playoffs, which are undoubtedly on the way. Tom Pelissero, prior to the kickoff of tonight's games, reported that, you know, that is in the cards. They will undoubtedly be shortening preseason in this next CBA, which means on top of that, you know, the counter to that will be an expansion of the playoffs, which will clearly be a bit more money for the owners, given that, I mean, one wild card game, ESPN pays $100 million to broadcast it. You know, that's a pretty decent expansion of the pie for the NFL and for the players, which is why they'll agree to it. Somebody asked thoughts on Kiki. I said back at the start of camp, they got a player. They have a player in Kiki. That kid can play. He's going to have his ups and downs. He's going to take his lumps. He's a rookie in the NFL. It's you know, it's just bound to be. But that kid can play, and I think he flashed again tonight. I'm excited to see him once things are real here in a week or so. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to jump. Thank you so much for all the questions. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to yours. It's amazing. There's 400 of you sitting here late at night on a Thursday after a 4th preseason game. You guys are the best. Thanks so much for all you guys do in support of Cheesehead TV, checking out what we do. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Support what we do on Patreon, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. $5 a month supports everything we do. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll talk to you guys soon. And most importantly, go Pack Go.